Welcome into the crypto bunker. Today, I want to talk to you guys about crypto and why crypto is at a point right now in the cycle where I do believe it's time to look at averaging in. And as you know, talking about getting out of Ethereum a lot earlier, November, December, January, averaging into gold and silver. And that trade has done really well so far. So there is a point where you have to look at the markets and you have to say, are they oversold? And I do think that there are coins that are down 75%, 65%, even 86% in some cases. And when it gets to that point, and you still believe in the asset class as a viable option, not only viable, but a really good option in terms of the future, and you're young and you're able to wait, 10 years, this is sort of a really good time to be getting in. I mean, you listen to all of the pundits and the people who are, investing billions of dollars, talking to hedge funds, people in the business. What they're saying is that a lot of these big companies, big institutions are slowly dipping their toe in. And I think a lot of it is people are unaware or I guess scared of regulations. I do think there's a potential that regulations are bullish for crypto. I do think there's a potential that Europe and the United States in particular try to tailor themselves more towards the blockchain. This might mean CBDCs. This might mean a decrease in privacy. But I do believe that before we go full authoritarian, where people think we're just going to become like communist China, I think there has to be a middle ground. You can't just go from cash to a CBDC and completely cut out the entire crypto industry on that. So what I think will happen is I think that this will actually be a decade plus of massive innovation in the space. And it's going to be radical change. And for people who are going to say, I'll never switch to a digital currency, I want to stay in my own lane. I don't want to go along with this new technology. It doesn't seem right. The blockchain is, this or that, or, mark of the beast, all the stuff that people are going to say in terms of fear that will come out. And those people will be left behind. I'm not saying that I want to participate in something that is going to connect me to a blockchain and have all my information. But at the same time, at this point, they have all our information anyway. So what's the difference? It's not something that I enjoy, but it's also something that I know is going to happen. And so when we look at some of these blockchains, these could be, generational opportunities here. And we have to look at these blockchains like properties. Okay. So when you look at a blockchain, you want to think, how much property ownership do I have of that blockchain? Because the tokens are the powering engine of the blockchain. So a lot of the transactions, the staking, which helps validate the system, is from the tokens. So if you can calculate the total supply of that token that's going to ever be released, you can say, okay, I have a percentage of that total supply. That's what I own. I own that in the digital world. I own that piece of that blockchain. So it's time to go blockchain hunting. So let's do that. First, let's start with Bitcoin, the big boy here. And, we're just going to go through some of the charts like always. And to be honest, this is making higher lows. Okay. At the same time, some people would say this is an ascending wedge. I would not necessarily say a wedge. You could say this was a descending wedge that we broke out of. That's why people sort of say, okay, this is a descending or a ascending wedge. Descending wedges go up, ascending wedges go down. But this one is a little bit more, it's not as sharp. So if it was a little bit different, I would say, maybe if it was something like this, where we really, had a high grind line here, but it's not. It's sort of an accumulation range, I would call it. I would really not call it much more than that. And there's key trend lines that we're on here, in terms of going all the way back to October 2020. With Bitcoin and with crypto in general, I do think we have time. None of this is financial advice, obviously, but what I said in my previous videos, I said if you have a chunk of cash that you've been waiting to get in, you might want to put 25% of that into crypto assets, crypto, basically real estate, like we talked about. People will usually say Bitcoin is the strongest of these crypto properties because it has the best security. Me personally, I will not be buying any Bitcoin. So if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, I'm sorry. I do cover Bitcoin usually because it's the biggest coin in the market. But when I see a wave of innovation, I don't see Bitcoin as being part of that. I see Bitcoin as being part of a new monetary system that involves cryptocurrencies. I do see it as a big valuation. I think there's a chance it could 20x from here. But I think that a lot of these coins could still 100x. So I want to sort of spread myself around to some of these coins that I believe in, the projects that I believe in, people that I believe in terms of innovation. And so those are some of the projects that we're going to look to today. I'm going to skip Ethereum for now, and I'm going to go straight to Polkadot, what I talked about last time with Polkadot. Obviously with Polkadot, we see sort of a rounded bottom. It's a little bit flat, so it's not something that I love in terms of like what the chart looks like. But if you look at it on a long-term basis, this is sort of this trend line that really just goes all the way back to the beginning. So we have this little high we made, and then we came back and tested that and then blasted off. So we use that as a first 2 points. We use obviously this low, and then we touched this low here, and now we sort of touched again here. And we are getting a strong bounce off of this this sell-off today, and it's pretty impressive. So what I would say is that the chart almost doesn't matter with some of these, but I think what I want to emphasize with the charts is that these have been sold off a ton. Okay, so what we're looking at with Polkadot is we had a high of about 55. Okay, and now we're at 1821. Okay, so 1821 divided by 55. We have had a 67% correction in Polkadot. So this is like blood in the streets time. When you hear there's blood in the streets, that's when you want to be a buyer. And so again, this is a property that I want to own. This is an asset that we can look at sort of this bullish pattern of higher highs and higher lows. Usually these will just kind of go from the bottom to the top to the bottom. So it's done that. It's gone to the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom. And then the top again is like 70. But if we can possibly break free of that, I do want to give some targets. So I'm going to take this extension line and I'm just going to draw it down like this. And so what we're looking at is $86 as a 1618. And at the top, we're looking at 200. So it's not too much different. 129 right in the middle. So these are the levels that in a bull market we could reach. I do think that there's a chance that we still have a long time to accumulate in these ranges. But again, you want to accumulate at the bottom of these ranges, not the top. Okay. So obviously, a lot of people are kind of getting confused in this market. They're getting bullish at the wrong times and bearish at the wrong times. And so I just wanted to make sure, that I was covering this properly. Another thing we can look at is AAVE. So AAVE is definitely an interesting one. We can see a big amount of volume came in here. AAVE is one that a lot of volume actually comes in on it once in a while. And it's just been sold off, perpetually, essentially. We can look at, again, some price targets for AAVE, but, AAVE is basically, has the chance to be like one of the largest banks in the world, technically. We're looking at a top target of around 2,500 here. And the thing about AAVE is it has the chance to be, it has a chance. And when I say a chance, it's a small chance. Okay. And it will take a lot of attrition to get to this point. But if you have the conviction in crypto and you think that the US will be bullish on innovation, just like the UK advisor to the economic, the treasury, person that I made a video of a couple of videos ago, you can go check that out. And I actually show what he says in the video. And he is very bullish on the innovation that they want to bring. And if you're going to bring innovation, like, just know that all of these computer scientists and coders and people are all in crypto. They're all going to crypto. Okay. They're all like out there. They're not going to these mainstream places. They are creating innovations. You have to follow the talent. Okay. The regulations will eventually go to the talent. The talent doesn't go to the regulations. The talent goes away from that. And then the regulations are changed from that. Okay. It's just like the internet. Okay. This is the new internet. This is like investing in the internet and Amazon and Microsoft and all of these in like 1995. Okay. We have not had the bubble. This is not the 2000 blow off here. Okay. This is an accumulation range. We're looking at on the, even a long-term time frame. Look at how this is basically just sideways, right? This is basically just, going sideways, in this kind of accumulation range. It's an interesting pattern here. We can sort of look at this as like a downward wedge. And so again, if we break up, we can get to that $1,000 mark. I'm confident that we can get to $1,000 AAVE. We have $20 billion or more, 21 billion locked away in AAVE. We have version 3 that just came out, which allows people to swap their assets from protocol to protocol. There's like 6 different chains that they're using now. And it's just really a cool thing that they're doing, because they actually have an accounting system where you can actually shift your ETH on Ethereum to Polygon with like a click of a button. There's no bridge. Okay. So they're doing this without a bridge. So there's a lot of innovations happening in the crypto space, especially with AAVE. And that's a $2 billion property. So another one is Curve. Okay. Let's look at Curve. Let's see if I can do CRV and see if we can get a better. Yeah. Okay. So with Curve here, you can see again, we have this bullish pattern of higher highs and higher lows, and we are right on the bottom of these lows here. Okay. So this is an opportunity that doesn't come around often. If stablecoins are integrated with, again, if the US stablecoin is integrated with Curve, which we did see Bank of America come out with an article, maybe 5, maybe 8 months ago, that said they were directing some institutional clients to look at Curve potentially for interest rates and for earning interest. So keep in mind, when we're talking about Curve, we're talking about the most secure, basically asset DEX, liquidity provider, liquidity pool in the crypto ecosystem. People trust it. And same with AAVE. Okay. So these are both protocols that have, over $20 billion locked, and they are like $1 billion or $2 billion market caps. AAVE circulating supply is very high. Curve circulating supply is very low, which means it can be violent in terms of the volatility, but it also means there's more Curve to come. And so it's a very long-term hold. But when you're talking about long-term holds, 10-year, decade-long holds of assets, this is what the richest people do. They do not trade. They do not do what I do. They just hold assets. And so you are at a point in the cycle of buying where you can actually get these assets at the absolute lows of this trend line, of some of these trend lines. Okay. So, I mean, it just doesn't get any better. And if it goes lower, I mean, we're basically talking about, going to zero. And so this is the point where crypto sort of has to decide, are we going to zero with some of these altcoins, or are we actually going to have a little bit of a rally here? Um, and I like a lot of different coins. Okay. So keep that in mind. I'm just throwing some out there here. So Engine is basically an NFT, a place that lets you create NFTs and integrate them with games. Okay. So I think this is going to be a massive play on the metaverse. And it's different from what I talked about previously, Yield Guild games. Yield Guild games is like a very small market cap, and it's actually based around sort of like esports, building teams, lending assets, buying NFTs. This is a place that allows you to create your own NFTs, sort of NFT marketplaces where you can swap assets from game to game. So it's going to be big in the metaverse when you have an item that you want to keep, and then you can move it from chain to chain. Even I think they have a new technology that they've come out with, called Efinity or Affinity, which allows you to move assets across chains, in terms of NFTs, which is really cool. So this is another one where we have about a 55% sell off. And again, we're, most likely at the bottom of a range. That's sort of what we're looking at. You could also draw it a little bit more bearish. So, if I'm being honest about it, we were like rejected here on this support. We tried to catch it here, and then we are now rejected. So again, I do believe that there's going to be a chance for some of these assets, to, be here, in these target price ranges, for a long time. So keep it in mind. If you have dollars, you don't need to throw them all in at once. Although it is tough not to, because again, we're at the bottom of these ranges. But I'm not giving financial advice on any of these coins. My favorite coin is Ethereum. And I think Ethereum is poised, to really lead the market here. And the reason I say that is because the merge is imminent, and the merge will give you an opportunity to earn 15% on your ETH. And you actually have to lock it away even after the merge. So you actually have to lock your coins after the merge, and you can earn 15%, which means people are going to go nuts for Ethereum because they're going to want to earn that yield. And once the merge goes through, they're going to consider it secure. So this thing should really pump. And Ethereum's like a sleeping giant, okay, in my opinion. Because it really is the entire crypto ecosystem. The entire crypto ecosystem is Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a separate ecosystem. It's a monetary ecosystem. Ethereum is NFTs. Ethereum is decentralized finance, which allows you to earn higher interest rates. So when some of these banks and companies are going to integrate with DeFi, it's going to be through Ethereum. When they're going to integrate with NFTs, it's going to involve Ethereum. And I do think that one day Ethereum could be a $10 trillion asset. Okay. So this is 100,000 per coin. I understand that that's super bullish, but I do think I think it will flip Bitcoin eventually. And I think it's, again, if there's anything that's a property more than, Bitcoin, it might be Ethereum. Because Ethereum is really, you actually do need the Ethereum asset to do transactions in the Ethereum world. So if you think of it that way, you can also think of it as property on the blockchain, because this asset is precious. People want it to do digital things, and you have a piece of that. And you can also look at it as, you know, a scarce asset that's going to be deflationary. So after staking, it's going to be decreasing in supply, so it's ever deflationary. And again, we're making higher lows here. So if we look at lows, higher lows, and then even more of a higher low here. So we could even draw in a trend line here and see if we can stick on that with that low today. Okay. And we can see if we can sort of stick on that, you know, potentially here. Ethereum actually, I'm wondering if Ethereum is even more of a wedge like that than Bitcoin, unfortunately. I don't like ascending wedges like this. So if that is the case, that would not be good. So again, like I said, I don't think it's an all-in thing. It's tough though, because again, I am, you know, crypto is bullish long-term. So you want to make sure that you have good entry points and that you hold for a long time. But you do want to make sure that you have good entry points. At the same time, if you dollar cost average in, your entry point is not going to matter as much. So keep that in mind as well. Another thing to keep in mind on the bearish side, obviously I've talked about this before, but we did have a death cross here and we are very wide on this. Doesn't mean that it won't come back, but as you can see, wide, skinny accumulation, very wide. Okay, on the moving averages here. So usually what will happen is once we cross those, we will usually crash down to the 200, which is around 1100. This is my original prediction for this market. But after what I've been seeing in some of the altcoins, I do just want to start to pick away at these. I just think that people are way too bearish, and I think crypto itself is bullish. And so you don't want to try to wait too long to pick up some of these assets. Okay. Another one that I like another one I like, is Kusama. And we can look at Kusama. I don't know why do they not have, so with Kraken, it's weird. Oh, it's just because they usually have the US dollar with Kraken. Yeah, there it is. You always want to use Kraken for Kusama and DOT because it's a very popular asset on those platforms. But you also, again, this is just a joke prediction that I tried to make with my drawing lines here. But again, we're looking at sort of a wedge here actually with Kusama that we're forming. And again, we're on this low point here. We are right at the lows of this long-term trend line. Essentially, if we break this, we go to zero. I mean, when I say zero, I mean like, 30, 50, something like that. This is like one of the original proof of stake chains. And it's one of the chains that basically did the particular type of proof of stake that Polkadot and Kusama do, which is very complicated. It's the first one to do that type of proof of stake. And so, and it's, it's something where if people want to use Polkadot, they're going to use Kusama as well. And I think that some people will just stay on Kusama in the future. If these are true, public decentralized blockchains, I do think that if Polkadot survives, then Kusama will definitely survive as well. And there's probably more upside with Kusama. You can also get 18% staking reward on Kraken, which is amazing. You can get 12% with Polkadot. And so again, I think we are at the bottom of these ranges. These are, bargain prices, obviously is when you want to be buying. And then let's look at another one here. Cosmos is an interesting one here. The reason I say Cosmos is because Cosmos is kind of like Polkadot, and it's kind of like an internet of blockchains type idea. This is a strong trend line of we have, this here. We also have these, sort of lines here. We've obviously hit it, multiple times. It's a little bit scary. But, this is another trend line, I guess. If we didn't hold that one, we'd probably come back down to around 16. So keep that in mind as well. But again, we're hitting this trend line of these higher sort of lows here. And so it's looking good. It even goes all the way back to when it was like, originally in 2019 here. So this one looks really good in my opinion, and you can also earn 12% on it. So, again, think of these as properties. This might be where we want to be buying some real estate in some of these crypto economies. Let's look at Solana and see what we're looking at. I know that a lot of Ethereum people are not Solana people, but I am not afraid to look at some of these. And I've actually probably never looked at Solana for you guys, to be honest. But anyway, this is one, again, I think $100 is a really strong range here in terms of where you could possibly pick up some coins. We are down, from 260 to 100. So we're down, 60% or so. And so, I think this is a strong one. I think it's very associated with FTX. I do believe in FTX. I think that they're going to use Solana a lot. They have like sort of a partnership with them. So it's kind of something that's almost a guarantee during a bull market to pump pretty high. So it's one of those ones where you sort of know that like SBF, Alameda is sort of going to pump this to the moon like he has in the past. And so you can look at sort of the targets here. They're pretty high. Obviously, we're looking at like $1,000 Solana. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that'd be a $330 billion market cap. I think at the top of the next market, let's finish this out by looking at total market cap. Total market cap, crypto total. See if this is crypto total cap. Cool. So yeah, we're at 1.86 for the entire crypto market cap. If we look at the trend-based extension here and we go from here to here and then we go down and we pop it there on that low, we're looking at 10 trillion. Okay. So 9 trillion. Sorry. So I believe that we can get to 9 trillion, and that's total market cap of crypto. So again, keep this in mind when you're looking at the chart. We're sort of making, again, I think these higher lows here. Yeah, we made these perfect higher lows and higher highs. So this is typically a bullish pattern. It's kind of like a megaphone type pattern. Tezos has this pattern as well. I'll mention Tezos real quick, even though I'm not trying to promote like all these cryptos, like I'm not, but at the same time, it is interesting to look at. I don't know why they don't list Coinbase on here, because Coinbase has like the entire history of it. But anyway, let's see if we can get it on here. You can just see, like, look at these look at this thing. I mean, if that's not the perfect trend line, I mean, we're right at the bottom of it. I mean, it's uncanny, really, how some of these are, and this chart actually really reminds me of Curve. If we look at the Curve chart compared to Tezos, it's actually like uncanny how similar they are, how volatile they are to the upside, and then they come down and touch this bottom line, and I guess they just go back up. I don't know. You can also earn like a decent percentage on Tezos, 5%. Or so. I think on Atomic Wallet, actually, you might be able to earn like 7, maybe 8. And if you have enough Tezos, you can be a baker and earn like 25%, which is pretty cool. So hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and have a great night.